right, Shari, we're back again on our adventure through Blake's Job.
Yeah, it's good. It's really helping me understand Blake more. So.
Yeah, me too. But I keep finding like just before this, I went to look up something about Blake that was brought up in one of the notes here, and it was too complicated to read in like 15 minutes. Like,
yeah,
it was like this whole essay full of like, and they start the essay saying like, Blake is very multifaceted on this subject. And like, I'm like, oh, good.
That's
and I tried
helpful.
skimming it, and it was not skimmable. It was like a very sort of dense. Anyway.
Well, I think too, like when I did that course with Michael Martin, what I liked about it was Michael didn't pretend to know anything about what Blake was doing. And so I look for people or references to his work that are willing to kind of maintain that humility about it.
Mm-hmm.
I actually read something today that the guy that wrote this, Damon, he's almost a little too sure of himself in places. There was a critique about that. But for as many people as there are interpreting Blake's work, there's that many different interpretations.
Right.
But I think there are some key structural things that everyone agrees on that I think are really interesting. But the one thing I wanted to mention maybe from the outset is that, and I found this really, really encouraging, because when we did the Book of Job together, we discovered the chiastic structure of the Book of Job. And Blake saw that right away, like, because he's a pattern guy, right? And it's a mirror image, right, of two contraries, essentially. And because I promised last time that I would look into songs of innocence and experience, I discovered that it's also chiastic. So I read almost all of them. They're not long, and they're not that, like the poetry. They're not that complicated, especially songs of innocence. They're very innocent. They're very childlike. I'll read a couple if we have time.
Okay.
And it's also a chiastic structure. It's a mirror image of two contraries, good and evil, basically. That's why I sent you the Marriage of Heaven and Hell. So there's a I took a screenshot.
I didn't get a chance to listen to that.
Yeah, that's okay. I took a screenshot of something that I thought was like key to the Marriage of Heaven and Hell. And it says, heaven and hell, without contraries, is no progression. Attraction and repulsion, reason and energy, love and hate are necessary to human existence. From these contraries spring what the religious call good and evil. Good is the passive that obeys reason. Evil is the active springing from energy. Good is heaven. Evil is hell. That's just one stanza. The Marriage of Heaven and Hell it's a play, or it's many different voices. That's just one little section in it that I thought was pertinent because of the chiastic structure and the mirror imaging of, innocence and experience. You might say good and evil.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm stretching it a little bit. I don't know, but.
Well, I'm going to bring this up just to have a visual.
Yeah.
This is that chiastic structure you're referring to. There's a couple of ways to look at this. The one is this eye. We have this. It's the eye of that. I don't even know how to describe it. The way that the way the image is being looked at, or I don't know, but anyway, it I just bring it up because it goes Lucifer, Molech, Elohim, Shaddai, and then we see this same pattern
backwards.
Repeat in the later ones, but reversed.
Mm-hmm.
And then you also have a little bit of a chiastic structure between each illustration has a contrary, and there's a little bit of a, like where the first illustration, its contrary is the last one, and it's not a perfect mirror image. They kind of jump about a little bit, so it's not a perfect, it's not just binary, like the second one goes to the second to last or anything, but there is a progression through them where they kind of mirror each other and repeat.
So let me just read something really quick here. Oh, what?
Mm-hmm.
What happened? I had a thing saved. Where'd it go? Oh, here. Okay, this is AI overview, so take it with a grain of salt, but I think it's pretty right. In Blake's Songs of Innocence and of Experience, chiastic structure, an ABBA mirror inversion pattern, serves as a primary tool to illustrate the two contrary states of the human soul. Blake utilizes chiasmus on multiple levels, and microsyntactic, thematic, and macrostructural, to demonstrate how innocence and experience actively mirror, invert, and warp one another. And there's a thing here. This is from the Songs of Innocence and Experience, not from the Book of Job.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it applies, because I think that's why he loved the Book of Job, because he could see this pattern reflected in the Book of Job. So in the Songs of Innocence, Blake has a poem for mercy, pity, peace, and love. It's the two poems have the same title, Divine Image, the Divine Image. Is God our Father dear, and mercy, pity, peace, and love is man his child and care. That's from Songs of Innocence.
Mm-hmm.
In the Songs of Experience, he flips the structural paradigm completely. Cruelty has a human heart, and jealousy a human face, terror the human form divine, and secrecy the human dress. And then there was just some. Okay, so this is the pattern, the linear progression from youth to adulthood, but a cyclical. It's not his goal to show a linear progression, but a cyclical dialectical chiasmus. So it's a dynamic pattern, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Pure innocence, childlike, naive, and completely unaware of institutional danger. Experience is cynical, restrictive, aware of corruption, and emotionally deadened. I think the corner calls that deconstruction. Right? And a higher innocence, a return to imaginative openness, achieved only after processing the harsh truths of reality. So it stands out to me there with it is Barfield,
Yeah, for sure.
It's the same pattern. It's also, Jess, the U-shaped pattern.
Yes. Yeah.
It's a U-shaped pattern. And it's also like, what's his name? Harding's, the 4 stages of life where you've got the child, the infant, the child, the teenager, and the sage. And the sage has to be married back to the child, right?
Right.
So this is a really big pattern.
He has the states here. So illustration 1, 2, 3, 4. We're right. What are we at? We're at illustration 6 today, right?
Oh, maybe I stopped at the wrong spot. Yeah, it's somewhere in there.
Yeah, so we're still in experience, but he has innocence, experience, and then I think we're going to get to revolution today. And then we have the dark night and then the new life afterwards. So that's the progression, and that's that same thing you're talking about.
Yeah.
But it's this point right here. These correspond with that Songs of Experience, or Songs of Innocence, the Songs of Experience.
Yeah.
And then we'll move into is, but yeah, like you're saying, like Blake sees the whole thing as transformative through this
And it has to be
patterning.
experienced. Like you have to go through it in order for well, first of all, you have to get, so you go from innocence to experience, which is sensorial. I think Damon mentions that in here.
Mm.
And that catapults you into a revolution. And the word here is, in my opinion, not revolutionary. Like it doesn't mean you're rebelling against anything. It's a revolution. It's this kind of revolution. So it's a metanoia, right? And then you end up in the dark night because of course it's chaos, right? You're confused. You've gone from like sunshine and rainbows to death, because in the book of Job, he'll illustrate that experience comes through pain and suffering, right?
Yeah.
Because it's the necessity of including the body in the whole process, which in order for the body to experience anything, it's most likely to experience it in pain, right?
Right.
So
this might be a perfect place to just jump into the next image, because that's exactly what this is about.
Yeah. Well, let me just read you one of the songs of innocence.
Yeah, please do.
And then one of the songs of experience. And I'll read, these are the most famous. This one's called The Lamb. Little lamb, who made thee? Dost thou know who made thee? Gave thee life and bid thee feed by the stream and o'er the mead. Gave thee clothing of delight, softest clothing, woolly bright. Gave thee such a tender voice, making all the vales rejoice. Little lamb, who made thee? Dost thou know who made thee? Little lamb, I'll tell thee. Little lamb, I'll tell thee. He is called by thy name, for he calls himself a lamb. He is meek and he is mild. He became a little child. I a child and thou a lamb. We are called by his name. Little lamb, God bless thee. Little lamb, God bless thee. So, and then the inverse to that, in my opinion, and
the songs of experience.
Yeah, in the songs of experience are, hang on, I'm getting there. It's a long PDF. I think most people agree this. Yeah, here. Tiger, tiger, burning bright.
Oh, I was thinking, it's like, is tiger going to be the inverse?
Tiger.
Okay.
In the forests of the night, what immortal hand or eye could frame thy fearful symmetry? In what distant deeps or skies burnt the fire of thine eyes? On what wings dare he aspire? What the hand dare seize the fire? And what shoulder and what art could twist the sinews of thy heart? And when thy heart began to beat, what dread hand and what dread feet? What the hammer, what the chain? In what furnace was thy brain? What the anvil? What dread grasp dare its deadly terrors clasp? When the stars threw down their spears and watered heaven with their tears, did he smile his work to see? Did he who made the lamb make thee?
Wow.
Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forests of the night, what immortal hand or eye dare frame thy fearful symmetry? And what's interesting about that is that really,
I never heard the lamb one. I've heard the tiger, tiger, burning bright, but I haven't heard the lamb one.
Yeah, so they're really great.
That they pair up like that is pretty amazing.
It's powerful, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's also in the book of Job, in God's speech. Like there's the whole thing about the lions, right? It's in there.
Leviathan.
And Leviathan. But I think of when God says, I feed the lions, right? Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So we are still in the state of experience. So that's
yeah. And the eye is Elohim here.
Yeah.
which I haven't really dug into that whole portion.
I don't know quite how to even think about it yet. The previous image was also the state was experienced as Elohim.
Well, I can tell, since you jumped ahead to the end and ruined it for me.
I know we kind of have to reference the end.
It's okay. I'm just making a joke. I came across something today that was really interesting. So the reason that Blake portrays God as himself is because this is the divine image in him.
Mm-hmm.
And so in the beginning, when, in those first illustrations that you showed where God's holding the book, it mirrors Job holding the book.
Yeah.
Right? Job's holding the book, God's holding the book. So this is the divine image in Job. It's not Job's conception of God, which is what I thought. It's actually the divine image, like the divine image in Job in its infant stages, let's say.
Well, this is the innocent stage even.
Right.
And Blake symbolizes this with the clouds here because that's what's happening within the mind.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's that other illustration that we did last time where the image of God is kind of sloughing off. See?
Yeah, there he is.
Yes.
And here's Job kind of sloughing down.
He's sloughing off too. Like he's fallen apart, right? It's the beginning of this thing.
He's starting to slide off his throne.
Yeah.
And this is where this isn't from the book of Job, but Blake inserts this scene where he's dutifully offering with his left hand even charity to this poor man. But
it's only out of
duty.
It's kind of like it's like the difference between making a dresser and building one from IKEA. Does that make sense? Right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, he's just following the instructions, the instruction manual,
Yeah. And this is after, we're in the realm of experience because the disaster already came.
Yeah, the disaster happened. Yeah.
Okay, so this is actually the image right before the one we're at today, which this scene, and I'll have you read the little bit here in a minute if you would like, but this is the scene where Satan is striking Job with the boils. So we've already seen the image of the messengers coming to tell Job of the disasters that happened. And now this is Satan himself. Here he is standing over Job, this domineering pose on top of his body even. And here is Job's wife at his feet, weeping. The sun is setting. But that's what this one is.
Yeah. And I like Damon's explanation about this illustration. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and read it?
Okay, so on the illustration it says, "Naked came I out of my mother's womb, and naked shall I return thither. The Lord gave, and the Lord hath taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. And smote Job with sore boils from the sole of his foot to the crown of his head." Satan's second assault on Job strikes at him personally. Boils were traditionally the sign of a venereal disease. For Blake, however, the boils signify a spiritual disease involving Job's sensorial and emotional life and closing him from eternity. Boils are the terrible smitings of Luva. That's Blake. That's not scripture. Mm-hmm. The regent of love from Jerusalem 19, verse 64. Or 29, I don't know. Is that a one?
Yeah, 29, 64.
29, okay. Satan the accuser, his genitals scaled over, infects Job with the feeling of guilt over sex. Quote, "The disease of shame covers me from head to feet. I have no hope. Every boil upon my body is a separate and deadly sin. Doubt first assailed me, then shame took possession of me." Jerusalem 21, 3-5. That's also from Blake's Jerusalem.
Yeah.
The death of 4 of Job's senses, sight, hearing, taste, and smell, is indicated by the 4 arrows beneath Satan's right hand. The 5th touch, which in its highest form is sex, man's easiest way into eternity, is now corrupted. The sun is disappearing, not to be seen again until the last plate. Job's wife is now separated from her husband. Nevertheless, she ministers to his lowest needs, his feet. In the margin below is the broken sheep hook of innocence, with symbols from the despairing last chapter of Ecclesiastes 12:5. You should know what that is, you guys.
I'm going to read it here in a second.
Okay, cool. Quote, "The grasshopper, destroyer of crops, shall be a burden, and desire shall fail," unquote. The pitcher is broken at the fountain, which now is choked with rubbish and identifiable only by the frogs still dwelling there. Bat-winged angels lower poisonous spiders, and there are thistles in one corner.
Yes, that's it. So I just want to read that part of Ecclesiastes while we look at the bottom part of this image.
Okay.
Because so Blake is connecting these two things. So this is the very last chapter of Ecclesiastes, and this is the last part before the sort of conclusion of the book. So I'm just starting in 12 verse 1, and it says, "Remember also your Creator in the days of your youth, before the evil days come and the years draw near, of which you will say, I have no pleasure in them." So what follows is, in Ecclesiastes here, is it's all these metaphors about a man just growing old and his body sort of stopped working.
Failing.
So he says, "Before the sun and the light and the moon and the stars are darkened and the clouds return after the rain, in the day when the keepers of the house tremble and the strong men are bent and the grinders cease because they are few, and those who look through the windows are dimmed, and the doors on the street are shut, when the sound of grinding is low, and one rises up at the sound of a bird, and all the daughters of song are brought low. They are afraid also of what is high, and terrors are in the way. The almond tree blossoms, the grasshopper drags itself along, and desire fails, because man is going to his eternal home, and the mourners go about the streets. Before the silver cord is snapped, or the golden bowl is broken, or the pitcher is shattered at the fountain, or the wheel broken at the cistern, and the dust returns to the earth as it was, and the spirit returns to God who gave it. Hevel of Hevel, says the preacher, all is Hevel."
Wow. He's just totally he's in there.
Mm-hmm.
He's got those two really linked together.
Yeah, he really does, and I love that.
That's beautiful. Just still got goosebumps.
Yeah, so it's it's very powerful because it's the body breaking down, the senses being dulled, all these things that Blake has, like you said in the description, it's those things that point and sort of connect you to eternity.
Which would you agree is meaning? And like without those things, there's no meaning. Like this is what the preacher is saying in Ecclesiastes, right? Vanity, right? Or hell or whatever. You know, like there's no meaning and no purpose. You know.
Yeah, or it just comes and goes. Like was vanity, or what's the other word they use to sometimes smoke? Like all this smoke or dust in the wind. You know, that everything passes eventually, and
you know what's interesting to me? I've been thinking a lot about because I had a conversation with Michelle Garner a while ago, or was it Michelle? I don't remember now. But
someone.
I was trying to talk about something and I wasn't saying it the way I wanted to at the time, and I thought about it later. Oh, I know. It was with Jeremy, and Eugene Turkin jumped in with us. And Eugene was talking about participation, and he was trying to wrap his mind around participation. And I was a little bit perplexed because we were talking about the lives of the saints. And I had said beforehand that, that their participation in the divine life was actually their putting one foot in front of the other, living, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I've always kind of said it. But I realize that just kind of gets lost. And what I'm actually, because I've been thinking about how can I say this better? What I actually want to say is it's when you invite your body to go along with your mind. That's actual participation, right? Because you can lay on, let's make it modern. You can lay on the couch and you can watch YouTube videos about how to build a motorcycle. I think Eugene used this, or somebody did. Anyways, as an example, they knew some guy who had a motorcycle that he wanted to rebuild, and he spent most of his time watching the videos on YouTube and never rebuilding his motorcycle, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the mind building the motorcycle. But in order to actually participate, you have to invite your body to go along with your mind, right? And then tackle the thing. And that's the one thing about the book of Job that's always fascinated me is that he's left with nothing but his body. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And what the body is it, if you want to make it sound like a machine, which I don't, but it's kind of like a sensory apparatus, right? The body is subconsciously taking in the environment around it. And it's, this is what we talked about years ago now. It can be punctured. It can be pierced, right? So, and that's pain. And that's all Job has. He's got his mind and his body. That's it. Everything else is taken away.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, in like with the arrows here, the 4 arrows, the senses are taken away from him. So the good parts of his body and mind have been afflicted. So Job is I think that's why he's connecting this to the end of Ecclesiastes, because in my experience with like watching my grandma get old, it towards the end she was just like, I'm ready, I'm blind, I can barely hear, she's like, what am I doing here? Like there's nothing left.
Yeah.
And she wasn't necessarily really bitter or angry or anything. She's just like, I'm done. Like, what's the holdup? And I have a family friend that's kind of going through the same thing with her mother right now. She's just done, and she's just sort of,
Yeah, my husband's mom passed away in March, and she was 96, and she was, for the last year or so, I just hope I fall asleep in my bed and I don't wake up, and because there's an end. There is an end, and it's a good end, actually. It's not like being robbed of anything. You're not robbed of anything.
No.
Actually, my husband told me a really sad story today. He was visiting with a bunch of neighbors down at the entrance of the house, and these are people that he grew up with, kind of, and this little old lady came shuffling out, and she's 99. And my husband went to school with her son and knew her younger son. And so he was asking about them, and both of them, 8 years apart, 12 years ago and 8 years ago, took their lives.
Oh, wow.
And she was 99 and completely alone. And, he described how, as she told the story, she got very emotional, And I said to my husband, that you would have to just continue on after that.
Yeah.
Just keep going.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, that's kind of what happened. I mean, we see that after this point, like Job in
Yeah.
That's his lament in chapter 3 is like, what is going on? Why am I still
That's
here?
coming up. Yeah.
And that's even like, that's the next image. But there's a couple of things that I want to ask you about, maybe that you know. So Satan, the accuser, his genitals scaled over, infects Job with the feeling of guilt over sex. And where's that other one? The fifth touch, which is in its highest form, sex.
Yeah.
Man's easiest way into eternity is now corrupted. So this is the thing I was trying to look up about Blake, about sex, and he's not necessarily one thing or another in anywhere. I can kind of grasp a little bit of what he's trying to communicate here, and maybe it's a little bit of S. Foster Damon kind of overemphasizing something that maybe Blake didn't want to necessarily be so emphasized. But I wonder if you had any thoughts about any of that.
Well, all I could say is some people overemphasized his discussion of this topic, especially the fact that he really, he's an illustrator, right? So he's at a time when it's not necessarily, it could be an affront to people to just portray the human body and it's all its nakedness.
Mm-hmm.
He does that. But for Blake, and I'm, take me with a grain of salt, but I believe that the human form is the divine image. And actually I can look it up after, but there is a reference to this in his song. I think it's Songs of Innocence. I'll look it up just to be sure. And sex, he's not talking about eroticism, in the vile sense of the word. Mm-hmm. He's talking about union.
It's connected to romance and all that.
Well, no, it would be in my opinion, it would be connected to divine union.
Yeah.
And divine image, right? Because Adam was created and then Eve was taken from him. And this gets messed up in religious cult-like environments. Okay, really easily. It's something that the human needs to be fully aware of. It's a powerful magic.
It's very potent.
It's very potent.
Well, and that's part of his point is like, it's very potent. That's why it's this.
So close to eternity.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I wouldn't say that, he's encouraging people to just, find union with God by, having sex with prostitutes. No. Like that. That's not what he's saying. It's it's very symbolic for him. And I don't think.
Well, and even this was like something going on at the time was that like as mentioned, like there's diseases going around because of.
Right.
People, if you sleep around, you're most likely going to catch something. You're going to catch syphilis or some terrible
which could be
disease.
His condemnation on that kind of promiscuity.
Right. And like Blake, he was aware. He's aware of, but he's kind of commenting on this a little bit, I think, through this, that here's this pathway to eternity, but then misused. Now it's this curse. It cuts your way off.
Yeah. It cuts off all your, scales over your genitals and takes away your sense of. More of your sense.
I think it's saying something that Satan doesn't have pleasure. He doesn't have that way. Like, I think that's kind of what he was meaning by that. That all he's got is snake scales.
I wonder if there's I'm not giving away too much here, but I wonder if there's a reference to Leviathan, because Leviathan has a phallic nature to it too, and and its scales covering Lucifer's genitals, right?
I don't know. I mean, there's the snakes earlier on, but where's the? Oh, I think it's actually later.
Maybe it's later. Yeah.
Oh, no, it's right here. It's at the bottom of the image, not in the image.
Oh yeah.
It's the first time we start seeing the snake.
Well, that's the serpent, right? The Satan as the serpent.
Yeah. I mean, it's something to keep in mind kind of going forward.
Yeah.
Okay, we need to move on to the next image, but I just want to call attention to Job's wife. She's
she's separated from him according to Damon, eh?
Yeah, but taking care of his lower needs, so taking care of his feet, which kind of you get this Ruth Boaz image of her there at his feet. And then also one thing I noticed in this image and then the one following it is she's right here with the sun as it's setting, and she kind of looks like she's setting as well.
Yeah.
And I wonder if like, even though she stays by his side, she's kind of like the sun that she can't find a way to help him. She's she's setting as well, even though she'll be with him.
Yeah, well, we're going into the dark night, right? Aren't we?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
So this is the last time we see the sun, shape of the sun, although we can just go to the next image because there's the last light of the sun shining, and we have his wife right there as well.
Yeah. He wrote receive wrong, or maybe we read it different.
He may have made a typo. I don't know. Maybe it's the British way to spell it.
But that's one of the only things that I remember from grade school. I before E except after C. But maybe they wrote it that way in those days.
Maybe.
I was going to say, anyway, you want me to read this?
Yeah. So this image is the three friends coming and seeing him for the first time. So it even has the words here. And when they lifted up their eyes from afar and knew him not, they lifted up their voice and wept. And they rent every man his mantle and sprinkled dust upon their heads towards heaven. So, yeah, if you want to read.
You know what? I have to say I'm really pleased with Blake's interpretation of the friends.
Of the friends?
Yeah.
Yeah, the friends so far.
They're frenemies.
They are frenemies. But I like this image. They are kind of crying out at the sight of Job.
Oh, yeah.
It's very touching.
But it says here, Job's three friends arrive left foot first.
Yeah, there we go.
To console him. But their sympathies are such that the term, quote, Job's comforters, unquote, has become an ironic commonplace. Corporeal friends are spiritual enemies, Milton 4:26. Indeed, their arguments constitute Job's third trial. The sun has set. In the margin stand Job and his wife beneath sterile trees. Can you show me that image that you have there? What does he mean by sterile trees?
So it's just these trees without any foliage.
Trees. Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, so right here and here.
Oh, there.
There's no foliage. And
I was looking at the main image.
Oh, no, they're down here.
In the margin, right.
Yeah.
They are still shepherds of innocence, enduring their sorrows of experience with resignation. And I just wrote a little thing here. Shepherds of innocence throughout their experience. That's kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Shepherds of innocence. What do you think that means?
They're trying to get their innocence. They're not trying not to lose their innocence through the experience.
Okay.
It's sort of like maybe maintaining integrity.
Well, that's what I thought of. Because the integer part of them is closely linked to divine image and and innocence. So
and then at the top here it says this is what Job says to his wife after he receives the boils. It says, "What shall we receive good at the hand of God, and shall we not also receive evil?"
Yeah, I wondered if that's a part of his naivety. Because in the next one, do you want to go to the next one already?
Yeah, is there? I mean, I don't think there's a whole lot to say about like
No.
it. There's still the wife and him are still underneath these stone structures, which they've kind of been against the whole in the last couple images, I think. But I don't. What do you make of some of these?
I wondered if that's the ruins of the church, of that Gothic
Could be.
church.
It is ruins,
Mm-hmm.
but it also looks sort of like the old Druid stuff. It's like a
Well, maybe the one on the back is the Druid stuff, and the one in the front is the
yeah,
ruins. I don't know exactly.
yeah, maybe.
Just a guess.
Okay, here's the next one.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want me to read that?
Yeah.
Let the day perish wherein I was born. The 7 days of silent mourning are over. Job 2:13. A new cycle begins. At last, Job reacts against his woes. His proverbial patience is at an end. No longer does he endure his misfortunes passively. His wrath breaks forth. It is a spiritual turning point, that of revolution. He sits beneath the stone cross no longer. It has gone from him forever. Now he can begin to question his situation, question the justice of his disasters, and by questioning, eventually find the true God. Meanwhile, the cross stands above his friends, who are still in error. At first, Job's wrath is blind, but it brings him to the realization that his great wealth has never brought him the happiness of security. Quote, "For the thing which I greatly feared has come upon me, and that which I was afraid of is come unto me. I was not in safety, neither had I rest, neither was I quiet, yet trouble came." Unquote. Job 3:25-26. He is questioning the former purpose of his whole life. In the margins, the clouds distill raindrops upon toadstools, briars, and thistles. And this is the revolution. State is revolution, and the I is Shaddai.
Yeah. So if we remember that chart at the beginning, we went through the stage of innocence in the first couple images. Then we have been in experience, and this is the only image that's in the state of revolution. And so this is Blake sees as Job cries out and curses his existence, that this is the revolution from experience, and we're going to move into the dark night.
I like it that he says it's a turning point. So that just reiterates my assumption that this is not a revolution as in,
Yeah.
Annie, get your gun.
Yeah.
But it's a turning. It's a turning. It's a revolution, revolve.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think this is one of two. I don't know if the other one could be called a turning point in the same way, but this is a turning point. But then also when in image 13, when the true God is revealed, that's the other turning point where we go into the new life. So I don't know. For some reason, I like to hold those two together, the crying out, and then also that revelation that happens.
Right.
As just keep those both in mind is I don't know, as important or
well, Blake's even playing with it in the images. It's also a liturgical cycle, and I mean that by it's a cosmic cycle. You have day and you have night.
Yeah, because we're in the night now.
We're in the night now, right? And so this is not just happening outside of us, it happens inside of us, and there is not one without the other, which is his whole thing about contraries, right? Like antinomy, basically. And just for the sake of the TLC and anybody listening, I just thought that it was very much where I see a lot of people who get to the corner. His description here, where he says, now he can begin to question his situation, question the justice of his disasters, and by questioning, eventually find the true God.
Yeah.
I think that, because we've talked about this in the past, and a lot of people talk about it, the whole idea of not being able to doubt in some Christian circles, not being able to question, because that's what questioning is. It's doubt. If you're questioning something, you doubt
Mm-hmm.
the thing, right? And so you get to a stage where you begin to doubt, but that doubt is what catapults you into, and I just wrote here, where did I write it? Questioning brings true encounter.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And this is exactly what happens at the end of the book of Job. Job is asking to have an encounter with God.
Mm-hmm.
And he does, right? He gets that encounter. So that's a word of encouragement. That's all I want to say.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm that as a word of encouragement. It's okay to doubt. It's okay to question, because if you do it with integrity, don't lie to yourself about stuff. Don't try to make things fit. And we always know when we're doing that. But just keep seeking, right? Then it'll bring you into a true encounter, right, with God.
Yeah. Well, you even see by this image that what Job is like, it really is a cry out. Mm-hmm. And look at how his wife and his friends are reacting. They're sort of cowering because of how powerful a cry it is. And well, above and below the image, it has quotes from chapter 3. It says, "Lo, let that night be solitary, and let no joyful voice come therein." And he's talking about the night where he was conceived.
Yeah.
And then the day of his birth, he says, "Let the day perish wherein I was born." Yeah, I even kind of think that this whole background, it looks like the earth is splitting and the smoke is rising up from, like, it looks like a volcano or something in the back. I don't know if Blake meant to do that or what.
Well, I think, because it's, it's rocking the world of those friends mostly, right? For them. It's also, I don't think you could be in a darker position than to wish you'd never been born.
Yeah.
Like that's just the greatest lament. Are those tears coming down his face?
I was just looking at that. They're tears. He has tears coming down. You can see them right here.
Tears, yeah.
And then his friends they're hiding their faces from him. They can't sort of bear to look at him.
Yeah. With their hair. That's interesting.
Yeah, with their hair.
So is the wife. And then that must be Eliphaz, the one who's not bending as low. And he's got curly dark hair. He's the younger guy. That's what I think.
Let me see. There's one.
Oh, no, maybe it's not. It's only
Eliphaz has the long hair here. There's a curly haired guy.
Oh, okay. So, but yeah, somebody's not as humble as he should be.
Yeah, maybe. But what's interesting? Where is it? There's maybe it's later on. Oh, yeah. Well, it's the next image. Oh, it's later. Anyway, we'll get to it because there's the left foot, right foot symbolism. And one of the friend has the left foot out and the other friend has a right foot out. And I'm like, what is going on?
Oh, really?
Yeah. The one when they're accusing him.
Oh, is that the next image?
No, we still have to.
Oh, it's a ways in.
Yeah. We can go to the next image, but sure. I just want to point out that this rain cloud is pouring, and then like all the little wild things growing up underneath. Like these are, this isn't the plants of the garden this is all the wild stuff that comes up in the dark night.
And also in the rain, toadstools, mushrooms pop up after rain. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting because the rain is like Job's own tears. It's like the whole world is lamenting, right?
Well, and I wonder, I bet it's a commentary on even the stuff that Job is saying, because the stuff Job is saying is wild things.
Yeah.
And it's like those are the wild things that are springing up in the storm, so to speak.
Fungi, toadstools and stuff, they come up at night, right? They don't need like sunlight.
Oh, interesting.
They come up at night, and
the foliage of the night.
Mm-hmm. And lots of tears. The whole world is crying. Yeah.
Let's go to the next one.
Sure.
I think we'll finish up with this image.
Sure.
And then last one was the revolution, and now we're into the dark night. In this image, we see Job here in the center with his wife, and they're looking up to Eliphaz telling about his dream. So this happens in chapter 4. And here's Eliphaz motioning up. His hand is sort of breaking the cloud barrier, letting you know that this is his dream. And we actually see him in the dream here. And he's scared to death because look at his hair standing up on end. This is his vision of God that sort of looks like Eliphaz. Do you want to read or you want me to?
Well, if you want to read it, you can.
I'll read this time.
Yeah, do it.
Okay. Then a spirit passed before my face, the hair of my flesh stood up. In this illustration are condensed the long arguments of Job's friends who insist that since God is just, Job's calamities must be punished for his sins. Eliphaz, also seen above reclining in the bed here, describes that his God, Pahad, so that's the eye, like we said, Molech and Shaddai, and now we're into Pahad, which I don't know about.
I've got a thing here for that.
Okay. Let me finish this, and then who is a nightmare? So Eliphaz describes this God who is a nightmare. His arms are concealed. He is obliged to reward or punish according to the deserts of mankind. In the margins is the forest of night, a traditional symbol for the sterile growth of errors whose false theories block the path and hide the heavens. Mm. These trees are to be blown down by the whirlwind in illustration 13.
Yeah, and that's interesting too, because God says, "Who is it that obscures me with without
words without wisdom,
words without knowledge,
words?" Yeah.
So Pahad in William Blake's mythological system represents the fifth of the seven eyes of God, deriving from the Hebrew term for dread or terror. Pahad signifies a severe punishing phase of divine justice. And it's interesting that he has these eyes. So it's actually there's a reference to this image. One of Blake's most famous illustrations depicts a terrifying vision described by Job's friend Eliphaz. Then a spirit passed before my face, the hair of my flesh stood up. In this watercolor, Blake visually interprets this god, Pahad, as a floating, faceless nightmare figure with concealed arms, reflecting a god that doles out fearful, punishing justice. And yeah, it's just kind of dawning on me here because Meister Eckhart has a little riddle that he loves, that I love, that he said, the eye with which you see God is the eye with which God sees you.
Hmm.
I'm really wondering if Blake read that.
Or
Because,
or even vice versa.
well, no, because if you see God as fearful and punishing, then that's the eye with which he sees you, to you.
Oh wait, when I guess Meister Eckhart was before Blake.
Yeah, he was before Blake. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, although I don't know if Blake read German, I don't know if Meister Eckhart was translated. Probably not.
Right.
But anyway, if you're an observant person, you can see that happens, right? It's like it's perception. So if you perceive God to be a punisher, then that's how he's looking at you.
Right.
And that's what this illustration is all about.
Yeah, and above the image, it has part of Eliphaz's speech, which says, "Shall mortal man?" This is Eliphaz recounting what the God had said to him in the dream, which was, "Shall mortal man be more just than God? Shall a man be more pure than his Maker? Behold, he putteth no trust in his saints, and his angels he chargeth with folly." And this is him describing, "Then his spirit passed before my face, and the hair of my flesh stood up."
Wow.
So this is a God who is concerned mostly about being just, being condemning man for not being pure, and then putting no trust in neither his saints nor his angels. So that's the kind of God that Eliphaz is describing. Or that he says that's what was revealed to him in the dream. It's a striking image. It's very, like, it's bold of Blake to put this like bright halo around him.
Yeah,
like kind of blinded.
And he has no hands, which is really interesting because as a maker, God is a creator. These hands are not used for creating anything. They're just used for thunderbolts and lightning and,
Yeah, and well, it's in stark contrast to when God appears to Blake, because God appears to Blake cruciform with his arms spread.
Right.
So as Christ.
As creator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I just love the expression of these other friends back here. They're like, "Oh my gosh."
Yeah. I know, they're terrified. And Job's kind of like, really? You think so?
Both Job and his wife look like they're
like,
a little bit startled, but not as fearful as the friends, for sure.
More curious.
And look at how stoic Eliphaz is being. He's like just staring at them. He's like,
because
"This is how it is, boys and girls. Like, take it or leave it."
He thinks because he had a vision, he knows something that nobody knows, right? Like, yeah. Which is, it's interesting because Jeremy and I have discussed dreams quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And there tends to be this stoic monastic take on dreams to just assume.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't delve into your dreams. Don't get into your dreams, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which I find really troublesome because I'm a dreamer.
Yeah.
And I've had lots of really great dreams that have really been helpful to me. But it's not to say that that's the rule of thumb, because then, 5 minutes later, you run across something in Orthodoxy where they're talking about, and so showed up in a dream and like a modern saint. Okay.
Yeah.
So as usual, things are not so cut and dry, but there is a word of warning there, right?
Yeah.
Because and here's an interesting play on words: projection. I mean, a dream is like watching a movie. It's like you're the projector, right? Which is what Meister Eckhart is saying. You're projecting onto God, you think he is, and then he mirrors that back to you, right?
Right.
The eye with which you see God, that's your projector, is the eye with which God sees you.
So what do you make of the only foot we see is Job's foot, and it's his left foot that's kind of peeking out here.
It's resting on his right foot.
Yeah. And also he has his right hand raised, and what is he doing? He's like,
I think he's pensive. I think he's halted a little bit, to me, is what it looks like. Like he'd like to say something, but he's holding back. And he's not convinced. Like Eliphaz is totally sure of himself.
Yeah, look at him. He's so sure of himself.
Yeah, and Job is like, yeah, I don't know if I'm buying this. You know?
Well, and it looks like he's still holding the pose of his hand from the last image. So he had been crying out, and now he's kind of brought that down, and now he's like looking up. So he still has he's still holding that.
Yeah, he's on the downside of it. Yeah,
because look, his face is very calm too.
Yeah, it almost looks childlike.
It does.
Like
same with his wife. She's a little bit like, oh.
Yeah, that's why
I like the friends over here at all.
No, they think they know, and Job and his wife don't know, and so they're curious.
They're considering.
Well, they're curious, like children are. Children are curious, so they're looking at it and they're trying to read something out of it. You know, and it's not obviously. We know the story. It's not going to strike Job the same way it strikes Eliphaz, right? This dream. So they're two different thinkers here, and ways of thinking, and yeah, it's illustrated well in their faces.
Yeah, it is really well done. And there's Eliphaz scared to death.
He looks like an icicle.
I know his hair's all pokey. So funny. There was one time my middle son like put a bunch of gel in his hair and spiked it up, and that's what it looks like. Exactly.
Yeah. That's that's an interesting way of portraying a judgmental God, because you would imagine it would be anger and like power or something like that. This is like, it's so terrifying because you have no idea what he's going to do next.
Yeah, he's like robed and just,
you don't know what he's going to pull out of his robe. Like if it's, like if it's going to be a reward or a punishment, right?
Yeah.
So like there's no, what would you call that? Like I'm just thinking about if you had there, I know what it is. Arbitrary and unpredictable. That's what it is. That's what's so terrifying about it.
Yeah. But also I like how he wrote here. He said, Eliphaz's God is obliged to reward or punish according to the deserts of mankind. He's also a God that can be manipulated, because you do good, he rewards. If you do bad, he punishes.
Yeah, very impersonal.
Yeah.
Like the vending machine. He does kind of look like a vending machine.
The vending machine God. All right. Well, that's probably a good place to stop for now. Well, Shari, we'll continue next time with illustration 10 as Job continues into the dark night. And I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording, but thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. I enjoy this.